This segment of issues is about Ethan Stacy. It's a very hard segment to listen to. So, based on what I've heard, I will record this last um, information regarding what happened to Ethan, and then I've got to let this child rest in peace and not be broadcasted across the airwaves. When the time comes that the mother and this boyfriend slash stepfather appear in court, I will then record that. But at some point, Ethan needs to be at peace. So here's the segment.
Outrageous case of alleged child abuse and murder. I have to warn you, some of the details are extremely, extremely, extremely disturbing. The beaten, mutilated body of 4-year-old Ethan Stacy was found on Tuesday. It was wrapped in plastic, taped up, and buried in a shallow grave outside Salt Lake City. Look at that poor kid. These sickos. Police say his stepdad, Nathan Sloop, killed him, and his own mom, Stephanie Sloop, helped cover it up. Police say after killing Ethan, Nathan took a hammer to Ethan's face, knocking out his teeth and trying to make him unrecognizable. It didn't work. According to an affidavit, Stephanie, the mom, confessed that her new husband had viciously beaten and tortured the little boy for days. Police say not only was the mom aware of the abuse, she documented Ethan's injuries on her cell phone camera. The couple confessed to cops that after the child died, they quickly hatched a plan to hide the body. They even reported the child missing. The entire community, including neighbors who helped search for Ethan, are absolutely shaken to the core.
That makes me sick, to be honest. I'm so sick to my stomach. I don't see how anybody can do that to anybody, much less a little kid.
Parents is going to do something like this to a little boy. What's the world coming to?
I have to ask why Ethan was even in this home in the first place. His biological dad had primary custody, but the court awarded Ethan's mom visitation rights. That ruling landed the child in the home of his alleged killer. Look at that little angel. Now dead, beaten to death. Straight out to my expert panel, defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh, psychiatrist Dr. Dale Saltz. But I want to start with reporter Chris Jones from KUTV. Chris, I'm almost afraid to ask, what is the very latest?
Well, at this point, the couple, the Sloops, remain here at the Davis County Jail. They are separated from the general population. They have an initial appearance tomorrow where basically they will be read the formal charges against them. Of course, Nathan Sloop facing aggravated murder charges. Tonight, that judge that you talk about, who actually heard their divorce case of Joe Stacy against Stephanie Stacy, she says that she's sorry that there was a death in this case, but she says that she never heard any of this evidence against Stephanie Stacy. She says that it's not the kind of thing that came up during their hearing, which raises the question, why not?
Yeah, there are so many questions surrounding this hideous, hideous case. Look at this guy. Take a good look at this guy's face. This is the face of a monster. Ditto for this one. Investigators say Ethan was not at the Sloop's home long before the abuse started. Again, I have to warn you, the details are just horrific. Photos on the mother's cell phone dated May 4th show Ethan with a swollen jaw and face. She told cops on May 5th, Nathan took Ethan to his room and gave him a severe beating. His head and face began to swell immediately. The next day, this couple locks Ethan in his room and they go to the courthouse to get married. With the little child suffering in a locked room with a swollen face, cops say both Nate and Stephanie admitted they didn't take Ethan because somebody would see his injuries and call police. Then the next day, last Friday, Stephanie says her husband severely scalded the child in a bathtub. She claims over the weekend, Ethan showed signs of severe brain injury, vomiting, fever, sleeplessness, lack of appetite. By Sunday morning, this precious child was dead. I honestly have no words. This is just making me beyond sick. And there are no words.
I think what's disturbed a lot of people here in Utah is not only was the child locked in that bedroom to make sure, according to those court documents, that the child didn't get out. We are told that the sloops took the doorknobs off the door so that the child couldn't get out of the house for any reason. So not only could he get out to show the injuries that he alleged that he suffered, we're told that if there was a fire in the apartment, the child would have certainly perished because there was absolutely no way out of that apartment.
Why would the mother document the abuse on the cell phone? How sick is that, Dr. Salt, psychiatrist?
Well, it's sick. I mean, it's very, very sick. You know, sometimes there are bizarre instances where a woman is so enraged at her ex-husband, and particularly if a child looks like their ex, if they feel like the husband got the child away from her, so to speak, you know, I'm afraid there are instances where even a woman will take it out on the child, and you know, you have to wonder, I mean, she may not have done the actual things, but she essentially killed him by not getting him any help or any care or protecting him in any way. And so, you know, she harbored some sort of, you know, tremendous animosity toward this child.
Here is my big issue. Courts, do your homework. Ethan was put on a plane and flown all the way from Virginia to Utah, across the country, to stay with these sickos for the summer. Maybe if a judge had bothered to look into Stephanie and who she was living with, she wouldn't have been awarded the visitation. Nathan Sloop, that's the suspect now accused of murder. That guy right there. Look at that sneer. He has a rap sheet, convicted of disorderly conduct, 2 felony drug charges. At the very least, maybe the courts would have required supervision. In the divorce papers, Ethan's dad, his biological dad, called his ex unstable. Quote, "The mother has abandoned the child, and I'm afraid she'll come and take him and I'll never see him again." End quote. Prophetic. He's never going to see his son again. The judge who oversaw the custody case says she never heard that argument. Why on earth would she have not seen all the divorce papers, Vicky Ziegler, family attorney?
If I could say something about that process, I mean, as far as we know, Stacy, Stephanie Sloop, did not have any sort of criminal record. And the judge admitted, you know, we're talking about a court system that basically grinds to a halt, that is overloaded with cases. The judge admitted that, you know, in cases like this, a lot of times the magistrate will look at the case for maybe 10 minutes before passing judgment and allowing a case to go.
You know what? I don't buy the argument. I don't buy the argument when they're busting pot dealers and giving people tickets for going through red lights. On the other side of the break, we're going to...